about teaching English literature during the closure of coronavirus 19. And the title of this paper is English Language Remote Teaching During the COVID-19 School Closure, Adapting New ICTs Tools. We know that COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in schools shut all across the world. Globally, over 1,200,000,000 students and children are out of classrooms and schools. As a result, education has changed dramatically with the distinctive rise of e-learning, whereby teaching is undertaken remotely and on digital platforms. The pedagogy of teaching English language and literature as an essential part of the curriculum is being blown by a gale of change due to the deluge of information we are witnessing nowadays. Information and Communication Technology, ICT, or ICT, is a catalyst agent. ICT has initiated new possibilities into the classrooms. The extensive use of web, for example, 2.1 components, internet, blogs, e-groups, SMS, emails, socializing portals, e-dictionaries, e-encyclopedia, PowerPoint presentation, webcasting, audio, video, are all considered as teaching tools that have been made in classroom. Now, due to these circumstances we are witnessing nowadays, the combination between education and internet technology has made a deep impact on perspective about teaching and learning. Web resources, for example, such as YouTube, we have Video Google, we have Keepvid, we have Yelp, we have online services like, for example, Coursera, Lark, Alibaba Cloud, Zoom Cloud, Google Cloud, etc. are all full of rich resources supporting materials useful in teaching literature. The pertinent questions of this research are: how far is ICT useful to student community? What is the role of ICT in teaching English literature? And what kind of methods can be used to overcome students' problems? It's not the first time that this issue is being tackled, but there have been a lot of researchers which that dealt with the matter. And for instance, we have Siddiqui, Martino, we have Mirande, we have all of them who share the same idea that there is an incredible development and growth and different names and labels, including, for example, big data, cloud computing, 5G cellular, and A1 technologies, etc. Online learning, e-learning, distance learning, we have learning management systems, we have flipped classroom. All these are concepts which have got the same idea, which is the usage or the adoption of ICTs in classroom. Now, for the teaching literature in the era of coronavirus, first of all, I would begin by saying that all literature could hardly be taught effectively without ICTs. The implementation of ICTs in teaching foreign languages and in teaching English literature as a main unit of teaching has become a primary tool and an incredible help in reaching out to students and helping them to boost their literary understanding and their critical awareness. Let us take an example. Teaching poetry. Teaching poetry is not every teacher's cup of tea, as it is said. It definitely is not mine Of all the genres of literature, it is the most difficult unit of teaching to teach. The real beauty and meaning of poetry lies in its recitation. Not all teachers are good at reciting. So, to use ICTs in order to teach poetry, there are different kinds of resources on the net. For example, we have a website which is called LibriVox.org, and we have podcast.com, which have a very good collection of poems in audio version recited by the native speakers. They are web portals where anybody can upload their recitation, and they are free to download. Thus, this way may motivate students to sing poems, record them, and upload to the site. Another example is teaching critical theories and criticism. Critical theories and criticism are not an easy path to tread on. In traditional classrooms, critical theories are taught in lecture method, and then some handouts are given to students to apply those critical theories. After learning critical theories, such as, for example, Marxism theory, feminism theory, archetype theory, and post-colonial theory, etc., students were asked to read recently published novels and try to analyze those theories on those pieces of writing. Students generally read the chosen novels, read the blog, and nowadays, if we try to adopt the ICTs in teaching, in this unit of teaching, students can read the blog, in which readers have given various comments on the text, and then they were asked to give their comments on the blog. We know today we have a lot of schools, a lot of scholars, researchers who belong to the same school, or the same who adopt the previous theories. And nowadays students can easily get in touch with those scholars and doctors and try, for example, to ask them questions. For example, what do you mean by this? Why you have, for example, chosen this word instead of this word? Why do you emphasize on this and not on this part, etc.? All these questions may be answered directly by those officials, those lecturers, those teachers, those scholars who are well versed in the matter, and it will make the lesson well understood by the student. Now, we know nowadays that the usage of ICTs is not a very easy job. There are always what we call barriers of using ICTs in teaching and learning process. Some of these barriers can be summarized in the following points. For example, we have the first problem is limited knowledge and experience of ICT in teaching context. If you take an example, not all of the teachers, for example, are teaching Arabic language and geography and those matters, are not well versed in the ICTs, but they used to teach students according to what we say the old fashion. Some of them, or few of them, cannot even know what is an email. We have low teacher expectation and the lack of clear goals for ICT use in schools. Sometimes we have got different kinds of technologies and so on, but few teachers know how to use this kind of ICTs. We have also a lack of teacher collaboration and pedagogical support, as well as a lack of experience among cooperating teachers. We do not have this contact between teachers, but each one is playing in his own stadium. So the third or the fourth point, a lack of specific knowledge about technology and how to combine it with existing pedagogical content knowledge to support student learning. Some teachers do not know and ignore completely how to combine, how to make a link between what they are intended to do and what kind of technology they're going to adopt in order to use to teach that that teaching in which they are in charge of. A lack of motivation and technical and financial support. We have a lack of in-service training of the use of ICTs. Okay, we don't have this kind of training, but teachers are obliged to learn by themselves. And sometimes when you are dealing with this matter, when you are, for example, teaching a student a class, an e-learning class, some of your or a few or one of your students on the other side of the continent has problems in his computer, so you cannot help him. There are also what we call some strategies to overcome the previous barriers. For example, the first thing is organizing workshops that allow teachers to reflect on effective strategies for technology integration into instruction, and embedding issues are central to understanding the process of technology integration into instruction. Supporting partnerships that help teachers share effective technology practices and experiences. Provide enough freedom to teachers in selecting and covering curriculum materials. Allowing effective, timely, and continuous training to improve ICT skills and manage technology-rich classroom. Providing adequate technical support. Encourage positive attitudes about the significance of integrating ICT into instruction. Overcoming psychological handicaps regarding some students who feel shame in front of their classmates. Thank you very much.